What happens when a simple flight turns into a public spectacle for Barron Trump? A routine trip spiraled into chaos, but no one expected the storm that followed when Melania Trump arrived. The loudspeaker crackled, announcing the final boarding call for Flight 207 to Los Angeles. Among the passengers in the first-class line stood Barron Trump, tall and composed, clutching his boarding pass. He was used to drawing attention, but today, the stares felt different, sharper, more judgmental. As Barron handed his ticket to the airline staff, a frown crossed the attendant's face. "Are you sure this ticket belongs to you?" she asked, her tone dripping with suspicion. Passengers nearby paused, their curiosity piqued. Barron, caught off guard, replied calmly, "Yes, it's mine." The attendant's hesitation sparked murmurs among the crowd. People began pulling out their phones, recording the scene. Within minutes, what should have been a seamless boarding process turned into a public spectacle. Moments later, 2 security officers appeared, their presence adding tension to the situation. They asked Barron to step aside for additional verification. Confused and embarrassed, he complied. The murmurs grew louder and the cameras kept rolling. The stage was set for an incident that would grab headlines worldwide and change the way people thought about respect and bias. Little did anyone know, the moment Melania Trump entered the scene, everything would take a dramatic turn. As Barron sat in the corner of the boarding area, surrounded by curious glances and flashing cameras, the tension in the room was palpable. He kept his composure, but it was clear the situation was taking a toll. The security officers rifled through his belongings, questioning him about his travel plans and how he had obtained the first-class ticket. Meanwhile, the murmurs among passengers turned into quiet whispers of judgment. Some speculated about his identity, while others took to social media, sharing live updates with captions like "suspicious passenger in first class." Within minutes, the hashtags Barron Trump and airport drama began trending. At that moment, a passenger whispered, "Isn't that Barron Trump?" The realization rippled through the crowd, but instead of diffusing the situation, it added fuel to the fire. People began commenting on his family, his lifestyle, and even his right to be there. What do you think about this situation? If you find this story as gripping as we do, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to our channel for more captivating stories, and drop a comment below. We'd love to hear your thoughts on how Barron handled himself and what happens next. Just when the tension seemed unbearable, Barron's phone buzzed. It was his mother, Melania Trump. The look on his face shifted slightly as he told her what was happening. On the other end, Melania's calm voice turned sharp with determination. "Stay there. I'm on my way." The crowd didn't realize it yet, but the situation was about to take a dramatic turn that no one, especially the airline staff, could have anticipated. The air in the terminal grew thicker with anticipation as more passengers gathered around, their eyes glued to Barron. The whispers and judgment were relentless, but Barron remained composed, his quiet demeanor refusing to betray any frustration. Suddenly, the automatic doors of the terminal slid open with a sharp whoosh, and in walked Melania Trump. Dressed impeccably, her presence commanded the room. All eyes turned to her, and a collective gasp rippled through the crowd. She moved with purpose, her heels clicking against the polished floor, the sound echoing like a countdown to something monumental. Approaching the security officers, Melania's voice was calm but firm. "What is going on here?" she asked, her accent cutting through the chatter. One officer attempted to explain, fumbling over his words as Melania's piercing gaze bore into him. "You detained my son without cause?" The airline manager arrived, sweating under the weight of the unfolding drama. He stammered an apology, but Melania wasn't interested in words. "I want to see the footage," she demanded, pointing to the security cameras. "If you're questioning my son, you'd better have a good reason." The murmurs among the crowd shifted. The people who had judged Barron moments ago now watched in awe as his mother took charge. Even the most cynical onlookers couldn't deny her determination. As the staff scrambled to retrieve the footage, Melania turned to Barron, placing a reassuring hand on his shoulder. "You've done nothing wrong," she said firmly, loud enough for everyone to hear. Her words filled with both love and authority, silenced even the harshest critics. But the drama was far from over. What the security footage revealed would leave everyone stunned and spark a conversation that extended far beyond the airport walls. The airline staff led Melania to a small room where the security footage was being reviewed. The crowd outside buzzed with speculation, their phones capturing every second of the unfolding drama. Social media posts exploded with theories and hashtags like "Justice for Barron" and "Trump family drama." As Melania stood beside the airline manager, the footage began to play on the screen. It showed Barron quietly presenting his ticket, only to be met with immediate suspicion by the airline attendant. The attendant's expressions and body language were telling, an unmistakable air of bias and judgment. "Pause the video," Melania instructed, her voice unwavering. She pointed to the screen, highlighting the moment where the attendant seemed to hesitate, exchanging a glance with another staff member before calling security. "You see this?" she asked the manager. "This isn't protocol, this is prejudice." The manager shifted uncomfortably, unable to deny what the footage clearly displayed. As the video continued, it became evident that Barron had complied with every request calmly, while the staff's behavior grew increasingly questionable. Back in the terminal, the crowd began to grow restless. Rumors spread like wildfire, with some passengers beginning to voice their support for Barron. "This isn't right," one woman muttered. "He's just a kid." Finally, Melania stepped out of the room, her expression resolute. Facing the airline manager, the security officers, and the crowd, she spoke with measured authority. "This incident goes beyond my son. It's about how we treat people, regardless of their name, background, or appearance." Her words struck a chord with everyone present, shifting the tone of the crowd. The murmurs turned into nods of agreement, and the atmosphere became one of reflection rather than judgment. Still, there was one more step to be taken. The question remained, how would the airline respond to their mistake? The next moments would define not only their accountability but also the broader message of the day. As the tension in the terminal reached its peak, the airline manager stepped forward to address the crowd. His face was pale, his composure shaky, but he knew there was no avoiding what had to be done. "Ladies and gentlemen," he began, his voice cracking slightly. "On behalf of the airline, I would like to issue a formal apology to Mr. Barron Trump and his family for the events that have unfolded here today." The crowd fell silent, their phones still recording every word. "Our staff acted inappropriately, and there was a clear failure in judgment," he continued. "This is not reflective of our values, and we will take immediate action to ensure this never happens again." Barron stood quietly beside his mother, his composure unshaken despite the public spectacle. Melania, however, was not finished. She stepped forward, her eyes scanning the crowd. "An apology is a start," she said, her voice steady yet firm. "But words must be followed by actions. Incidents like this happen far too often, not just to my son, but to many others who do not have a voice to defend themselves." Her words resonated deeply, and the murmurs in the crowd turned into applause. Passengers began putting away their phones, their focus shifting from capturing the moment to absorbing the message. The airline manager promised to initiate sensitivity training for all staff and to review policies to prevent similar incidents. But Melania wasn't just advocating for her son, she was planting a seed for a broader change. As the public apology wrapped up, one by one, passengers approached Barron to offer their support. Some even apologized for their earlier judgment. Barron nodded graciously, his calm and mature demeanor earning the respect of everyone around him. But this wasn't the end. What happened next turned this incident into a global conversation about bias, dignity, and respect for all. Within hours, news of the airport incident spread like wildfire. Major media outlets picked up the story, replaying footage of Barron's calm demeanor and Melania's powerful stand. Social media platforms were flooded with posts and debates, with hashtags like "Respect for All" and "Barron Trump" trending worldwide. The story ignited conversations about biases in public spaces. Many shared their own experiences of being judged unfairly based on their appearance, background, or status. Barron's ordeal became a symbol, sparking a movement that transcended political lines. At the Trump residence later that evening, Barron sat with his mother, reflecting on the day's events. "I didn't expect it to turn into all this," he said quietly. Melania smiled, her hand resting on his. "Sometimes moments like this are necessary to open people's eyes. You handled yourself with grace, and that's what matters." Meanwhile, the airline issued a detailed statement, acknowledging their mistakes and announcing immediate steps to improve their policies. They pledged to implement mandatory training for staff and establish a system to address complaints swiftly. Celebrities, influencers, and even public figures weighed in on the story. Some praised Barron's composure and Melania's advocacy, while others called for systemic changes in how people are treated in public spaces. The incident became a catalyst for awareness and action. For Barron, it was a humbling experience. Despite the initial humiliation, he saw how one small incident could ripple outward, affecting thousands, even millions of lives. It was a lesson in resilience and the power of standing firm in the face of adversity. As the week went on, the buzz around the story began to settle, but its impact remained. Schools, workplaces, and public institutions started conversations about implicit bias, using the incident as a case study. What started as a simple flight had turned into a global lesson about respect, dignity, and the importance of treating everyone equally. But there was still one final gesture that would leave an indelible mark on the world. Inspired by the overwhelming response to the incident, Melania and Barron decided to turn this challenging experience into an opportunity for positive change. They announced the creation of the Respect for All initiative, a program aimed at promoting awareness, empathy, and fairness in public spaces. The initiative focused on educating staff in industries like travel, retail, and hospitality to combat biases and create more inclusive environments. It also provided resources for individuals who face discrimination, ensuring their voices were heard and their concerns addressed. The announcement was met with widespread praise. Media outlets covered the launch extensively, and influential leaders from various fields pledged their support. Barron, who had always preferred a quiet life out of the spotlight, found himself at the center of a movement. During a televised interview, he spoke for the first time about his experience. "It wasn't just about me," he said, his voice steady and thoughtful. "It's about making sure no one else has to go through what I did. Everyone deserves to be treated with respect no matter who they are." His words resonated deeply, especially with young people who saw him as a relatable figure standing up for what was right. Social media was abuzz with messages of support, with people sharing how the initiative inspired them to reflect on their own actions and attitudes. Behind the scenes, the airline partnered with the initiative, offering funding and committing to adopt the program's guidelines. This move marked a significant shift, showcasing how institutions could acknowledge their mistakes and actively work toward meaningful change. As the first Respect for All training session was conducted, Barron and Melania made a surprise appearance. Addressing the participants, Melania said, "Today is a step forward not just for my son but for everyone who believes in fairness and dignity." The initiative's success was undeniable, but Barron's journey wasn't over. He had one final act of kindness that would solidify his place as a young leader with a vision for a better world. Months passed since the airport incident, but the impact of the Respect for All initiative continued to grow. Schools, community centers, and businesses across the country adopted the program, and even international organizations began reaching out for collaboration. Barron and Melania's efforts were now seen as a beacon of hope for a more just and compassionate world. One afternoon, Barron received an invitation to speak at a youth leadership summit, an honor that both surprised and humbled him. Standing before a crowd of young people eager to hear his story, Barron shared his journey with humility. "This wasn't just about one moment or one flight," he began. "It's about understanding that each of us can make a difference. We don't have to wait for a big moment to change the world. We can start right where we are by showing respect and standing up for what's right." The audience responded with applause, their admiration for Barron growing as they realized the depth of his character. His words inspired many to take action, and the Respect for All initiative flourished as a result. As the years went on, Barron remained committed to the cause, quietly leading by example. His work transcended the spotlight, impacting countless lives through the initiative and serving as a constant reminder that even the smallest moments of adversity could spark change. Meanwhile, Melania continued to advocate for issues close to her heart, ensuring that the message of respect and equality never faded. Together, they became symbols of the power of resilience and the importance of standing up for others. The airport incident, once a source of humiliation, had transformed into a story of triumph and transformation. Barron Trump and his mother Melania had not only turned adversity into action, but they had also created a lasting legacy, one that would inspire future generations to challenge biases, embrace dignity, and foster a world of respect for all. With that, we reach the end of this story. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more powerful stories like this one. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for more inspiring tales.